Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very accomplished professional, a neuromanagement expert, and a coach from Madrid, Spain, Dr. Carlos Davidovich. Carlos, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Ashutosh, to invite me. I'm delighted to be in your show and your
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank
Really,
you.
really thanks.
Thank you. Carlos is an executive coach and a neuromanagement expert. He's an author of a book titled Five Brain Leadership: How Neuroscience Can Help You Master Your Instincts and Build Better Teams. So, Carlos, before we talk about coaching and neuromanagement, a few questions for you. You began your professional life as a medical doctor in Argentina.
Yep.
What inspired your transition from medicine to executive coaching?
If I need to be 100% honest to you, it was not planned.
Okay.
This is about life.
Hmm.
And as I learned after all these experiences, you need to be with the eye quite open to see what life brings to you. And then you choose. I mean, you need to make a decision. I work as a medical doctor. I was working as a high executive in pharmaceutical business in biotech. So I had a completely, I will say, organized life in Argentina. And in one moment, I decided to move to Europe, not because of work. And I would be, I mean, I need to confess, it was about my wife. It was about love. And also, I will say, following some intuition that was time to make a big change. So I moved to Europe. Then I found out no more medicine, no more pharma. There was no way to get into those business. So I've had to reinvent it myself.
Wow.
And I changed 180-degree all my career.
Incredible.
And to be honest, I was not a young man by then. I was quite grown up. But anyway, I moved to Europe and a completely new life started when after some, let's say, a few time, I found out this field of neuromanagement, connecting the brain with organization and business. I understood that I was, in a funny way, bilingual in medicine and business. So I was able to bridge those two worlds and started working on that field that for me was fascinated. And then I found out that people love it.
Okay.
Everybody wants to know about the brains. Everyone wants to know. Today is very trendy, but not 10 or 15 years ago. And then executive coaching came in the way, at the side. And to be honest, when people ask me, you were a medical doctor and now you are doing coaching, blah, blah, blah. This is my answer. I keep doing this. I keep doing the same in a different way.
Yes.
What I do today is also supporting people to improve, to get better,
Yeah.
to know themselves better, so to heal in some way. Before, I used to do it with prescriptions. Now, with meetings and talking, I think it's not bad.
Amazing, amazing. So, for my viewers and listeners, Carlos, tell me, what exactly is neuromanagement, and how does it differ from traditional management science?
Okay, that is, I would say, was created many, many years ago for a guy in Korea, I think. It's just a word to put together neuroscience with management. And this guy found this word as the best one, and I took it because I thought it was, I would say, expressing the connection or the fusion with these two worlds. So today they call it, okay, applying neuroscience to organization and business. Okay, that's what I do. In a practical way, a lot is oriented to human behavior. I don't talk about science because that is changing all the time and it's a technicality that is not useful for the purpose of my work. So the way to define is applying the latest practical tips that comes from neuroscience in organizations and business. That's the definition.
Wow. And my next question, Carlos, says, what are some of the most common brain-based blind spots when it comes to leadership?
Oh gosh. So, okay, in the next 4 hours, I will explain you something simple
Yes.
like that.
Okay.
There are many blind spots.
Mm,
Step number one of the hardest things to do is to make people aware
mm,
that they have blind spots,
mm,
to accept this
mm,
natural condition. So the brain is number one, has, I would say, basic rules. One of them is that the brain is absolutely subjective.
mhm.
Human brain cannot be objective.
Right.
And I'm sure that you know this old saying has like
Mhm,
1,000 of years. We
mm,
don't see the world as it is. We
mhm.
see it as we are.
Right.
So all of us, we have lens. We have different components in our lens.
Mm,
To understand that you and me, even though we are communicating right now, we are not, and it's not about the language, it's about the understanding
mm,
and the meaning of the word. It's impossible that you and me will have exactly the same definition for everything.
mm,
We have different cultures, and the brain always needs to adopt one style.
mm,
What, based on your question, that again, we can go farther and farther regarding biases and all this stuff.
mhm,
I think that the step number one is please be aware, be humble enough, and
mm,
accept that all of us, we have blind spots.
mm,
Then the step number two is I need you because
mm,
only you can
mm.
see my blind spot. I
Right.
can't.
Right. How
So
interesting.
collaboration is the main thing
How
in
interesting.
this thing.
How
And
interesting.
that's the way that we can start working with those blind spots.
Wow. And can neuroscience explain why some leaders are more emotionally intelligent than others?
I will say partially yes,
Okay.
but I would like, I'm a fanatic optimist.
Hmm.
Okay. So I like to think that people have always have a chance to
Yeah.
make it. There are people that are more, I would say, not so positive in life, I mean, as an attitude. But in the end, we need to learn how to read between the lines.
Hmm.
So emotional intelligence is implies many components. Number
Hmm.
one is about your capacity of perceiving others'
Hmm.
emotions,
Hmm.
not only yours.
Hmm.
So number one, how I feel others' emotions,
Hmm.
and then I can understand better others' reaction,
Hmm.
others' behavior. Number two, I present a model, it's just a metaphor,
Hmm.
of, I call it the internal team.
Right.
The internal team is a bunch of characters that we
Hmm.
have inside that has a different way of communicate, different objective,
Hmm.
different goals, and different way to interact with each other. Those voices that we
Hmm.
have inside
Right.
are connected with survival, are
Hmm.
connected with intuition, are connected with emotions,
Hmm.
positive and negative.
Right.
In few words, pay attention to those voices because you're supposed to be in charge,
Mhm.
not them.
Mhm. Yeah.
And emotional intelligence, I will say can be defined in many ways
Hmm.
as the capacity of increase my self-awareness
Hmm.
regarding my emotions, regarding how my emotions play in my
Hmm.
life
Hmm.
and how others' emotions do
Wow.
the same.
Very interesting.
Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Ashutosh?
Let's talk a little bit about five brain leadership. That's also your book,
Okay.
and I'm going to come to your book in a little while. But
Mhm.
what is five brain leadership in practice? And how can this transform team dynamics?
I will continue with the explanation I
Yeah.
just was doing to you.
Mm.
First of all, I want to clarify to your audience it's a metaphor,
Yeah.
okay? So the body works as a whole and as
Mm-hmm.
one,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them are completely intertwined. They are connected, and we respond with different parts of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
My model or metaphor of five brains is another way to identify in a clearer way
Mm-hmm.
all these different characters that we have
Mm-hmm.
inside.
Right.
At the moment that we can identify them, at the moment that we can really understand
Mm-hmm.
who is in charge
Mm-hmm.
and what is the purpose of that specific internal voice,
Right.
I will be able to, I would say, to become more productive
Mm-hmm.
and to connect better
Mm-hmm.
with everyone that is needed to be connected in my work. On my
Mm-hmm.
work. Make sense?
Makes a lot of
I don't know.
sense. No, no, makes a lot of sense. You also, Carlos, talk about evident and sustainable change.
Hmm.
What does this look like in a coaching relationship?
Great, great work. Again, as a coach, again, I need to be mindful and aware of basic human behavior. Number one, the brain has a very complex
Mm,
and sophisticated mechanism to avoid changes,
mm,
to try to not go there.
mm,
Why? It's very simple. It's about safety. It's
mm,
about feeling safe. If everything will stay in the same way, I
mhm,
already know the rules. That's what we call comfort zone.
mhm,
Any situation in life that I know
mm,
the rules. And then the final purpose of all this is saving energy. My brain will permanently try to save energy.
mm.
But I don't need to tell you that change is the name of the game.
Right.
So the brain also has
Mm,
another mechanism to overcome those barriers.
mhm,
What I do in my coaching practice, I don't start telling them you need to change because this
mm,
is exactly counterproductive.
mhm,
What I'm just trying is to find
mm,
the right button
mm,
to motivate that person to start trying to do something differently.
mm,
At the end, it's funny because when the change is already established, they not even understand what
mm,
happened,
mm.
and not even, I will say, realized that
Yeah,
the change is already in place.
very interesting. Very interesting. You're also trained in hypnosis and psychotherapy. How do you integrate these two into your corporate coaching?
Well, what I studied was a particular, I will say, understanding of
Mm-hmm.
hypnosis. It's not a traditional way.
Mm-hmm.
So the hypnotic state is a specific place in the brain, and I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
What I studied, as and you read very well my CV, what I studied is in the, let's say, hypnosis based on Milton Erickson.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly about persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly about the way you talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
the way you can induce certain states, and the way you can facilitate changes on others if you apply the right narrative
Mm-hmm.
in that sense. So this is about influence and perception. It's
Mm-hmm.
not getting the client, my coaching client into the hypnotic state. That I
Yeah,
don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. What's your approach when you are dealing with culturally diverse teams from a neuromanagement perspective?
This is great question. Love it. What I learned based on neuroscience and also in my own experience, living in different places, connecting with different people, I like to define two layers of
Mm,
communication.
mm,
The layer number one is the cultural aspect.
mhm,
That is very important, that you need to know it and you need to respect it. Wherever you go, you need to know the basic cultural rules.
mm,
If not, you get yourself in trouble, and that's true.
mhm,
And I did it with myself many times
mm,
because I made a lot of mistakes on that reality.
mm,
The first cultural layer is what we call it my identity.
mhm,
Those are the characteristics I identify myself with.
mhm,
Therefore, if you don't respect that first layer, we will never communicate properly.
Mm.
So I need to feel your respect on that.
Mm.
So how to work the second layer, and that's where I want to go. The second layer, I call it the human layer.
Mhm.
We have the same basic needs
Mm.
around the world.
Mm.
It's about to be recognized. It's about love. It's about to be respected. It's about to connect with people. It's exactly the same. But if you don't respect the first layer,
Mm.
you will never reach that place.
Mm.
Then, how to work based on neuromanagement and to connect diverse community.
Mhm.
Number one, to explain where these barriers
Mm.
to diversity are located in the brain. That's
Mm.
what I explain. And then people very clearly understand how that plays as our first reaction
Mm.
against other. So our first reaction is against whatever looks, speaks, or is different
Mm.
than me.
Mm.
Whatever has a different aspect, speaks different, or looks differently, for my brain is potentially a threat
Mm.
because it's not part of my tribe.
Yeah.
Today, technology, internet is working exactly in the direction that should be working.
Mhm.
That is making us understand that even though that
Mm.
you are, I guess you are in India right now, and I am in Spain,
Mm.
we can communicate absolutely at the same level. And the
Correct.
question that you're asking to me can be asked by my neighbor,
Mm.
if he know what
Mm.
I'm saying.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
this is the way to overcome
Very
diversity.
interesting. Very,
So
very interesting.
when I work with teams,
Mm.
the first exercise is share with the rest some characteristic of your culture.
Mm.
In another word, the first step is, hey, let's know more
Mm.
about each other.
Very
And that's it.
interesting. What a great response. But tell me, are there any ethical issues or challenges when you apply neuroscience in organizational coaching?
Like what? I like it. I like the question. I tell you what, I don't see that
Mm-hmm.
because there is, first of all my clients, if it's a team or if it's an individual
Right.
in coaching,
Mm.
they have the whole power
Mm.
to decide what they want to do in their life.
Correct.
So I'm not a fundamentalist coach. I mean that will be in silence waiting for that you
Mm.
will figure
Mm.
out everything. That's not me.
Yeah.
I will share
Mm.
any thought that will
Mm.
come to me
Mm.
in the coaching session
Mm.
because if it came to me in that moment belongs to you. You were triggering that.
Mm.
But in the end, is your choice. So I don't take any power
Mm-hmm.
over my clients. They decide what they need to do. They try, they make mistake, they try again.
Mm.
We try to fix together to find the solution.
Mm.
But I don't know if you were referring to this kind of
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
wrong approach. That will
Yes.
be an ethical or legal issue,
Very
the
true.
only thing.
Very true.
But if I
Very
can keep my limits in the right place, everything is okay.
well said. Well said. One more question relating to coaching, then I've got a couple of questions about your book. You are also trained in Tai Chi.
Yes.
How does the training of Tai Chi applied in neuroscience to understand the connection between the brain and the body?
Exactly. That's wow. Love it. Love it. First of all, it helps mainly me. So yeah,
Mm.
it's a help for me, in the way I deal with my body or my mind.
Mm.
That's the first thing. The second one, when I was studying and doing the training and whatever, I remember one of the year I had to prepare kind of a thesis, a kind of a special project. And the one I prepared was Tai Chi connected with medicine
Mm.
and how really is impacting the body.
Mm.
And to be honest, Ashutosh, I learned so much and I was totally surprised. I didn't know
Mm.
about such a level of research
Mm.
on the impact of those slow movements
Mhm.
in our whole body
Mm.
and mainly in balancing the energy that we're supposed to be in balance
Mm.
to feel in the right place. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
I don't want to use to feel good because
Yeah.
that's completely subjective. Let's say to feel in balance.
Mm.
I like to use the image or the metaphor of the pendulum, you know? I mean, the wrong understanding is that the pendulum, that the end stage of an inner development is
Mm.
a pendulum that will never move or shift to the side. That's absolutely wrong.
Mm.
The
Amazing.
pendulum will always
Come to
go
the
to
center. Yeah.
but how fast, how good I am, or I become to bring that pendulum to the center,
Mm.
that is a parameter of my inner development.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. Carlos, I'm going to go talk to you about your book. I've got a couple of questions. Your book
Okay.
is titled, for my viewers and listeners again, Five Brain Leadership: How Neuroscience Can Help You Master Your Instincts and Build Better Teams. I know you spoke a little bit about five brain leadership a few minutes
Yep.
back, but can you explain to my viewers and listeners the five brains you reference in the book and how they work together?
Okay. I saw that once when I was studying all the, let's say, all the body, all the system, studying medicine. And then I found out something that was curious to me. One is an old theory
Hmm.
that, to be honest, is already debunked, but I still like it,
Hmm.
that talks about the evolution of the brain.
Hmm.
So that we were, I mean, civilization was evolving and life was evolving regarding brains.
Hmm.
And the most primitive one, what we call the reptilian brain, is the one that still has, I would say, the most power. It's
I
the
see.
most powerful
Hmm.
still today.
Hmm.
If not, just read the news.
Hmm.
Or any news, okay, all the current political situation, everything. They are aiming the reptilian brain because it's impossible not to react.
Hmm.
And this is a very easy way to hook people to the
Yeah.
news
Hmm.
and to sell more, period.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
That is one, still very powerful, very old, 500 million years. The
Hmm.
second one is the emotional brain that we inherit from mammals.
Hmm.
This one is a little bit more sophisticated, but it still has good positive emotion, negative emotion,
Hmm.
but and it's still very powerful. The third one here, up here, is
Hmm.
the rational one.
Hmm.
The rational one, in the way we know it today, has 100,000 years. Nothing compared with the 500 million years of
Hmm.
the reptilian brain. Then, this rational brain, we still don't trust
Hmm.
as much as a survival brain.
Hmm.
Those are the three first.
Yeah.
One guy discovered neurons, brain cells in our heart.
Hmm.
And that was really a revolution.
Hmm.
Everybody was thinking that the heart is just a pump. That's what I studied in medicine.
Hmm.
It feels like it's also a reservoir of emotions,
Wow.
reacts regarding emotion. I'm not talking only about the romantic side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of things, there's a lot of research and
Hmm.
measurement of the connection between emotions and how the heart responds.
Hmm.
And the last one that is very trendy lately is the
Hmm.
gut brain.
Is this sorry?
And now the gut brain in our
Gut
gut.
brain. Yeah.
So, and this is a complete nervous system
Hmm.
that I will say, Ashutosh, it's scary when you find out how much power it has over the rest of our body.
Hmm. Amazing.
Let's leave it there. I don't want to
Yeah,
scare
yeah,
people.
yeah. No, but your book sounds absolutely fascinating, and I'm going to order a copy for myself. I'm going to ask all our viewers and listeners to go and check out Dr. Carlos Davidovich's book. But on that note, Carlos, I just want to say what an amazing conversation this has been. You've told me about the five brains, and as you were talking, I was making some notes, but the reptilian brain, the mammal's brain, the rational brain, the survival brain, and the gut brain. And of
Yeah,
course, what you told me was that they're discovering some brain cells in the heart as well. Is quite a
yeah.
revelation to me. Thank you so much for talking to me about neuromanagement, neuroscience, and all your vast experience. Thank you for speaking
Thanks to
to me
you.
and good luck.
Thanks to you. Really, thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.